Thank you so much for watching my video, especially if you've stayed this far. I really enjoyed walking the Tour du Mont Blanc, even though I was quite late planning it, and luckily everything worked out well. So I just wanted to answer a couple of questions here for people who might not know what the Tour du Mont Blanc is or much about it. So essentially the Tour du Mont Blanc is a really popular hike in Europe that goes through 3 countries, Italy, Switzerland and France, and it generally takes around 11 days to complete. The nearest airport is Geneva, although I've also heard you can fly to an airport in Italy. I personally had a long trip to get to the Tour du Mont Blanc. I flew from Wellington to Sydney to Dubai to Geneva and then took a bus out to Chamonix, which is one of the most popular ways of doing it, is to fly into Geneva and then take a bus to Chamonix. I stayed in Les Houches for a couple of nights before I started, just because I had such a long flight time. Generally it takes 11 days to complete. Personally, I did it in 9 days. I did have some easy days, some days were bigger. There are 4 variant routes that you're able to take, and I took 3 of them. The only reason I didn't take the 4th was because I forgot it existed. It's around 170 kilometers or 110 miles, I believe. And with the variant routes, I did about 10,700 meters of climb and 10,000 meters of descent. That is with some of the variant routes though, so even without them though, it is a big kind of up and down in different stages. There are some really big climbs and some really big descents. The walk is really popular and really well developed, so in towns and a lot of other places along the way you can stay in hotels, which is at the most expensive end. In the middle you have refuges or refugios, and then on the cheap end there is camping. So in France you can wild camp legally in most areas except near some of the refuges. They don't like you doing it. In Italy you're not allowed to wild camp anywhere and there aren't any available campgrounds, so in that section I stayed at a hotel and a refuge because I would have found it very difficult to break up the days. There are campsites in Italy, but they are quite far off the main Tour du Mont Blanc route. And then in Switzerland you're not allowed to wild camp either, but there are some very well situated campgrounds that you pay around 15 francs a night for, which I stayed at and were very worthwhile. However, if you are camping, obviously you're taking your camping gear with you as well, so you've got the added weight of a tent, sleeping mat, sleeping bag, etc. Personally, I had a reasonably light pack, especially with the amount of camera gear that I had. I was camping and I saw a lot of people who were camping with far bigger packs than mine, and I don't understand how, because I definitely had everything I needed. I had a pair of clothes for walking, a pair of clothes for sleeping in, my rain layers just in case we had bad weather. I didn't take a cooker because I lived off bread, cheese, chocolate and peanuts in various forms, and I had all my sleeping gear and then obviously my camera gear as well. So who is this walk for? I can really say that this walk is for everyone, which is a really uncommon thing because I'm from New Zealand and a lot of our hikes are definitely not for everyone. But you can do everything from day walks to the full loop to half the loop. You can camp and take everything yourself and have a really heavy pack if you wanted to, or you can stay at refuges and hotels the whole time and have donkeys and horses and cars and vehicles carry your bags around for you the whole time, so you only need a little day pack. Yeah, but essentially regardless of your fitness level and your personal tramping experience and history, there's definitely an option for you, which I think is the great thing about this. And there's also cable cars and buses you can take in certain sections, which could make the route easier if you ever struggle or have an injury at a given time. So like I said before, the way that you do the Tour du Mont Blanc will depend on how much it ends up costing you. Personally, with tenting, staying in a hotel one night and in a refuge another night, I ended up averaging at around 43 US dollars/euros a day, being reasonably nice with my food as well, as in I brought a good amount of food in the towns, and then I also had meals at restaurants or refuges occasionally when I was feeling a bit hungry and needed something more substantial. How is it for English speakers? Obviously in Italy you're speaking Italian, and in Switzerland and France most people speak French. However, everyone is pretty happy with English. If they're not, I managed to borrow a charger, an adapter, off a couple who were in the hotel room next to me, and they spoke nothing other than Italian, and we still managed to work out exactly what charger / plug-in adapter I needed, and they gave it to me and let me have it for like 6 hours. So if you ever see this, you were lovely. But language is not a barrier. There are enough gestures, and most people do speak English, so if you ever run into trouble you can probably find a translator or use Google Translate. Another question might be maps or finding the route. So the route is really well marked. Every second rock on the trail has a Tour du Mont Blanc sign or a little flag type thing on it. Anyway, it's really well marked. The only areas that aren't are where there's lots of different tracks, and then occasionally that can get a little confusing. I know paper maps are really popular, but I was using All Trails, which you can download offline, pocket knife, and a microfiber towel. Those two things were just life-saving in so many given situations. It was shocking. If you have any more questions, I'll try to answer them in the comments below, or if there's lots of them, I'll make a separate video. I definitely think you should go walk the Tour du Mont Blanc yourself, or even just a section of it, because it's so easy to access and the views are absolutely stunning. So much better than New Zealand. I'm sorry, New Zealand. So once I finish the Tour du Mont Blanc, I'm interrailing around France and Italy for about 2.5 months. So I hope I see you again, maybe somewhere in a different city instead of up in the Alps somewhere. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.